If you're like me, you never get tired of examples of Elon Musk acting like a gross little creep, so here's one I saw the other day. This is a tweet from Rupert Lowe, a member of parliament in the UK, and it says, "Meet Harry, my only grandchild. Difficult times remind you of what really matters in life. Family." And then there's a photograph of Rupert Lowe holding his grandchild Harry, and replying to that post is none other than Elon Musk himself. And what does Elon say about this photograph of a man proudly holding his grandchild? Why, of course, Elon says, "Are you expecting more? Or does this mean a 75% generational population decline?" See, this kind of shit is why Tim Walz was calling people like this weird last year. And that's why when Tim Walz and other Democrats who followed his lead were calling people like Elon and Trump, etc., all of these right-wing MAGA-type people, when he was calling them weird, that's why it was catching on. Because all of us relatively ordinary, normal, level-headed people, when we see this kind of interaction, when we see Elon Musk replying to a picture of somebody holding his grandchild with, "Are you expecting more? Or does this mean a 75% generational population decline?" The phrase that pops into most of our heads is, "Holy shit, what a fucking weirdo." And the other thing that pops into my head is, if I had kids, I definitely wouldn't let this guy close to them, meaning Elon Musk. Here's what's even worse about this interaction. The MP who posted this picture on Twitter of him and his grandson, Rupert Lowe, he's a conservative MP. Now, he's no longer a member of the Conservative Party. He's a member of the Reform Party in the UK, but that's a right-wing party. It's kind of an offshoot of the Conservative Party. So he's a lowercase c conservative, but he's a right-winger. He's on Elon's side. This is one of Elon's political allies that he's being such a fucking weirdo to. He sees one of his political allies, someone who in theory is a friend of his, at least in terms of political matters. He sees this guy proudly holding up his grandchild, smiling, a happy granddad. And what does Elon say? "Are you going to have more? Or is this going to be a population decline?" What a fucking weirdo. This is one picture of one guy holding his one grandchild. And Elon is like, "You must have more though, right? You must have more. Only one child has 4 grandparents. If all 4 grandparents only have one child, well, that's just, well, the human race is going to die." Like, what is it about? It must be, maybe it's a rich person thing. I don't know. I only seem to encounter this kind of attitude in the very wealthy. I'm sure there are middle-class people, poor people, etc., who think the same way, but I only ever seem to hear these kinds of attitudes expressed by not just weirdos like Elon Musk, but really, really rich weirdos. Not just when it comes to having kids, although Elon is a pronatalist weirdo. First and foremost, he may be a pronatalist weirdo even more than he is all the other kinds of weirdo that he is. But it's not just about wanting to have a bunch of kids and wanting everybody else, or at least everybody else who's like him, all the other rich white people, to have a bunch of kids. It's not just that. He's the richest man on earth, Elon Musk, at least for now, until that, maybe if the Tesla stock keeps trending downward, he might not be the richest man in the world for very long. But as of this moment, as far as I know, he is still the wealthiest single human being in the world. He has more money than anybody else has, and he still wants more. How can you have as much as he has and still want more? What is it about people like Elon Musk who have a dozen kids, most of whom he has no interaction with whatsoever, and you have more money than anybody else has or has ever had, and all it seems like he can think about is the shit he doesn't have? What is that mindset with people like this? How can you have so much money? How can you have so many hundreds of billions of dollars, and all you can think about is all that money you don't have? How can you have so many kids? Again, most of whom he has no role in their lives whatsoever. He has no interest in actually being a father to most of his kids. How is it that you can have that many kids? And yet, it seems the only thing on his mind as far as that goes is having more kids. He has as many kids as he has, and all he can think about is all the kids he doesn't have, all the kids he wants to have that don't exist yet. What is this insatiable, I feel like maybe it's tied into this right-wing obsession with growth, with gain, with increase. No matter what you have, no matter how much you have, no matter how successful you might be, your focus should never be on what you have. Your focus should always be on what you don't have, because the more of what you don't have you can get, then the bigger the pile gets of the stuff you have, which is ironic because you never seem to care about that. You barely even look at the stuff you have. You're constantly trying to get more, just for the sake of it. Like, at this point with Elon, it can't even be like he's got all the money anybody would ever need. He's got political power, which he did nothing to earn and in no way deserves and is totally unworthy of morally and intellectually and every other fucking way, but he's got it, right? He's got it. What else does he need? He's got political power, social influence, money. What else does he need? But in his mind, he needs something because he's constantly grasping at stuff. Whatever it is, he needs something else. There's a hole in the middle of him, and not just him, lots of people, but him in particular. There's a hole in the center of him that just is never going to be filled. There's an insecurity there that is just never, ever, ever going to be satisfied. And there are two kinds of people as far as that goes. There are people who deal with insecurity and it's their own problem. And there are people who deal with insecurity and they make it everybody else's problem. And clearly Elon is that type of person. Can you just imagine the mindset of a human being that looks at another human being holding up their grandson and saying, look, everybody, it's my grandson. Isn't he beautiful? This is what life's all about. And Elon doesn't look at that picture and see, oh, what a wonderful relationship they must have. A loving grandfather and his little grandchild. Look, what a wonderful life they'll have together. What a great influence. I don't know how good of an influence, because again, Rupert Lowe is a right-winger, but let's just go with this for a second. What a beautiful influence Rupert, as the grandfather, will have on little Harry as he grows. And think of the wonderful memories that Harry will have for the rest of his life of the time he gets to spend as a young person with his grandfather. How beautiful. What a wonderful part of the human experience. Elon doesn't see that. At least he doesn't see that initially. All he sees is only one grandchild? Well, the math doesn't work there. You need to tell your kids to have more kids. You need to be having more grandchildren, or else there's a population decline. What planet are these pro-natalist jackoffs living on, where they think we're going to run out of people? Who looks, and I'm not an overpopulation person. I'm not someone who's like, there's too many people. Like, I'm not an anti-natalist. But how do you look at the world today and conclude that one of the problems is there's not enough people? We're running out of people. We need to have more kids. Everybody needs to have 15 or 20 kids. My God, a grandparent with only one grandchild. Are there not enough fucking people for you people who think that way? Not for the first time. And sadly, certainly not for the last time I ask, what fucking planet are you people on?